Welcome back to the Rambler Sports Locker. I'm RSL reporter Amelia Ickes here with Eric Moran and Abby Saleo to talk about the championship game of Day 4 of Arch Madness today between number 1 seed Loyola Chicago and number 2 seed Drake. Eric, who won today and how did they win?
Sure. So Loyola came out on top today, but coming into this game, both teams had a lot at stake, especially Drake, who was a bubble team. It's still unclear if they're going to be in March Madness or not. So that's why Drake winning today would have been really huge. But Loyola, they had a strong start and led nearly the entire game. At one point in the second half, Loyola had a 17-point lead. The largest lead by Drake during the contest was just 2 points. Loyola's top-ranked defense also led them to victory as well, although they weren't able to hold Drake to 58 points, breaking their 17-game streak of doing so. Loyola had 24 defensive rebounds compared to Drake's 15. Loyola's defense also recorded 4 blocks, while Drake had 0. I think the biggest thing that Loyola's defense did too was holding Joseph Yesufu to just 12 points. Yesufu had 25 against Missouri State yesterday. Offensively, Loyola did a great job of getting players open and taking good shots. The Ramblers shot 71.4% from 3 in the second half, thanks to Keith Clemens and Braden Norris. The Ramblers also shot 59.1% from field goal range, while Drake just shot 43.6%. Overall, I'd say the Ramblers just played a much more complete game against a very tough MVC opponent.
So what were some of the key players that you think led to Loyola's win today?
Well, I'd say first off, senior center Cameron Krutwig had a monster game with 20 points and 8 rebounds. And sophomore guard Braden Norris also had a big game, playing 38 minutes. In those 38 minutes, he hit 5 3-pointers and scored 20 points. I'd say Krutwig's reliability down low in the paint and Norris's 3-point range played a huge role in Loyola's victory.
It should also be noted that Cameron Krutwig and Braden Norris were both named to the Missouri Valley Conference All-Tournament team, and that Cameron Krutwig was also named the most valuable player for the tournament. Obviously, our coverage this year has been different in years prior, and RSL reporter Abby Saleo is here to talk a little bit about how virtual coverage has been for the tournament. Abby, what was your experience like covering the tournament virtually and not in person at the Enterprise Center?
Yeah, as you said, nothing else can compare to being there in St. Louis at the Enterprise Center, but the Missouri Valley provided us with a lot of different resources to make sure that we can cover the game as detailed and as much as possible. They gave us live statistics, media guides, game notes, photos, anything that they could, and it made our jobs as reporters and as content creators as easy as it possibly could. I've been able to cover this event on all fronts as part of RSL. I've been doing graphics, I've been doing social, obviously I've been doing broadcast coverage like this and analysis, and it's been a delight even with all the challenges that have been thrown our way. And one of the highlights of our virtual access was press conferences. I know that's such a big part of the in-person experience, and they were all held virtually on Zoom this year, even for members of the media that were in person at the Enterprise Center. And I really have to commend Mike Kern and the rest of the staff at the Missouri Valley Conference because they made that process as streamlined as it possibly could. And I really thank them for giving us that access.
Among the star players from Loyola was senior Lucas Williamson, who prior to the tournament was named MVC Defensive Player of the Year. Now, Abby, I know that you have a personal connection to Williamson. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so actually Lucas Williamson and I went to the same high school in Chicago, Whitney Young High School. And at Whitney Young, there's a big basketball culture. Back when I was a student, we were in the state tournament multiple times, and they ended up winning the state tournament when I was a sophomore in 2017. And that was Lucas Williamson's senior year. And he actually won the tournament as well as a freshman in 2014. So I think that was really cool that this time in college, he won the Missouri Valley Conference tournament as a freshman and as a senior, and he noted those parallels in press conferences today and said that those mean a lot to him. So I think that is a really, really special thing that he can hold on to for the rest of his life.
Definitely something special. Eric, in your analysis earlier, you mentioned Drake's hopes for an at-large bid to the NCAA March Madness tournament. Can you talk a little bit more about what that would look like and what is the process for getting an at-large bid?
Yeah, so I think one thing that the committee looks at is the strength of schedule. Who has Drake played? And Drake hasn't really had the hardest schedule in the world. And also the losses they have had have been pretty tough losses. Now, on the positive note for Drake, they did have an impressive tournament run, and the fact that they were able to make the championship game definitely helped. And the committee also will probably note that Drake didn't have a few of its starters, and maybe that will play a role as well. But honestly, it's kind of unpredictable what the committee is going to decide, if Drake is going to make it or not. We're just going to have to wait for Selection Sunday. I would say that it definitely didn't help that they didn't win today, and they have to rely on that at-large bid, but it's still very much in question.
We will find out both Loyola Chicago's seed on Selection Sunday, as well as whether or not Drake will be participating in March Madness. For all things March Madness and Selection Sunday, you can follow us at Loyola RSL on our social media. On behalf of Eric Moran, Abby Soleo, and all of the Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Amelia Ickes.